let's not dive too much into the minutia and get unhappy about that. But you have those kinds of revelations when you're journaling.
You know, this weekend I was feeling a little down that maybe I hadn't gotten enough done and enough accomplished, and how it was kind of weighing on me. And I realized I had to stop and kind of check myself, like, wait, a couple of years ago, if I had ever gotten this much done in a couple of days, I would have been ecstatic. It would have been over the moon happiness, like, wow, I'm really doing it. But now that I've had like more productive days than that, and I'm having a slightly less productive set of days, I'm feeling like I'm fucking up. But I got to tell myself, stop it. Stop doing that. Stop hating on yourself for like not always being at the very top end of your possible range of productivity. Like, everything comes in waves. And Tesco's about to say something about that. And I said, hold up, we got to hit record.
Yeah, man, I was just saying I empathize with you, because like last week for me has just been like, just felt like a meticulous grind and like spinning my wheels, like you said. And to hear that both of you are like feeling the same way is very, it's reassuring, like everything you said, just because like you had no idea we were going through the same shit. So to just hear that was a good reminder for us to be like, oh yeah, you know, fucking chill. Don't beat yourself up. It's not going to make things easier.
Yeah.
I'm still going to do it sometimes anyway.
You were mentioning you were journaling about like your thoughts on this matter. And I was actually just watching a video today about like the psychology behind journaling, and like, you know, I know it's important. Sometimes I back burner it, but after watching this video, I'm going to go like way harder on journaling, because you have these revelations about your day-to-day life, like for the like meta awareness level of like, right, like I am a little bit unhappy about how much I got done today, but let's step back. Why is the ape in sad mode for no reason? Like, let's think about this. What's the bigger picture here? What am I accomplishing now, and what are my goals? Am I on track for that? Like, you know, let's not dive too much into the minutia and get unhappy about that. But you have those kinds of revelations when you're journaling. And like, there's so much positive psychology about journaling. It's like the number one thing you can do to like help increase your productivity and like clear your mind and stuff.
That makes perfect sense. If
yeah,
you
like
think about like how much time just slips away and you don't even realize, to reflect back on that and realize how much time was lost where and how much you actually got done.
Yeah.
You hype yourself up a lot.
You do. Yeah. And like today, like I was journaling, and then all of a sudden, like something that I had been like kind of thinking about recently, just like my handwriting just started getting bigger and bigger, and then I'm writing it like 3 times in a row, and I'm like, all right, fuck, this shit's on the page now, like just fucking do it. Like you know, basically just stop thinking about what you could or couldn't be doing and just do it. Right. I have I'm trying in the quest to be as productive as possible, like we were talking about, right? We've talked about this before. Like sometimes you'll choose like a small win, but more so like it's more important to just like dive into whatever you're working on, because I find resistance builds up a lot when you're not working on anything, right? So like first thing in the morning before you get started on a project, like sometimes I'll pick up the guitar to practice for 15 minutes and I'm like having fun playing it, and that'll turn into like an hour, and then like another half hour of me like writing and trying to record the riff that I was just playing into the computer, and then I'll feel bad about that time, right? I'll be like, fuck, like I was kind of procrastinating, but like that was productive in a way. And then if you, instead of like feeling like you've put your day on the wrong track, just start working on something, instantly you're going to get like the positive reinforcement of starting to get stuff done, and you're going to like get a bunch done. But if you're just like, oh, I screwed up my plans for the day, and you kind of like go down that other path, you're going to screw yourself up way harder.
Totally.
So one more fact that I found super interesting on the journaling thing. 2 groups of engineers that were just laid off from a big giant company. I don't know what the exact numbers of the figures were, but basically a bunch of engineers got laid off. They divided the groups into like 2 exactly equal sects. And they said, like, half of you guys are going to journal twice for 20 minutes at a time over the next week. The other half, don't do shit. The half that journaled were 3 times more likely to have another job in 4 months.
Word.
What? 3 times?
I believe
Doesn't that sound fucking crazy? Like, how much like mental clarity are you able to pack into yourself about like motivation and getting your frustrations out instead of going home and then drinking and yelling at your wife because you think everything else isn't your fault, instead of you're just like, you know what, like I have good skills, I can apply them somewhere else. Like, those thoughts are back there. That just takes letting them bubble out onto a page to actually like capture them, right?
Yes, totally. Man. There's been times in my life where I was, going through, heavier emotional stuff. And I found consistently that allowing myself to vent all of that stuff, instead of like having it swirl into my head, just capture it on the page in black and white, 2-dimensional, just stick it to the page. And like, the first page of journaling is maybe just all, oh, God damn it. And then you get, after a while, you run out of steam on that shit, like for the moment. You're like, all of a sudden you've uncovered those clear thoughts, that's the eye of the storm, maybe, you kind of hit that still place and you're like, oh, actually, here's some like useful insights I can take forward into my week.
Yeah. 100%.
We talked about this in the spiritual episode a little teensy bit maybe, but I think you always know what the right moves to do are for the most part. If you look within yourself deep enough, is just silencing all of the other voices talking over that and all of the distractions throughout your day that are taking your attention away from that thing. And I think that's why people blow up too. And it comes at you really strong when you've been suppressing the thing you should be doing all day with all this other shit, and then you come home and it's like screaming in your face now, and then you take that out on other people, or you want to drown that out even more through like all of the recreational stuff you said, like drugs or just watching TV or just binge eating or whatever. You find ways to silence that voice, but I think it's always in you telling you what the right thing to do is.
So you started this conversation talking about how you felt like you weren't as productive, but if you think macro, like you weren't as productive today, you've had more productive periods in the past. Think macro, you're still doing good. My journal entry that I started writing gigantic in big letters was reflecting on a period of time when I was working. I was teaching production lessons. I was teaching electrical construction at UW, and my schedule was ridiculous. Like I was waking up at 6 and going to bed at midnight every day, and like I had shit to do like the whole day that was scheduled out, and not stuff that I wanted to do myself, that it was just like fucking scheduled out. And I was reflecting back on the fact that I was able to get through that time, like a 3-month period of doing all of that shit at the same time, and still succeed through all of that. And now that I have my own time-keeping schedule, like, why am I not working that hard? But let's see. How much music did I get done in that time period? Grand total of about 0 songs. You gotta think big picture. You gotta be productive, but you can't beat yourself up. You gotta strive to constantly improve, but when you're not operating in the 100th percentile of your ability, you can't beat yourself up about it. You have to realize your potential and the limits that you have done before to motivate you to do better. But if all you do is bitch at yourself because you're not doing the maximum amount, you're going to make yourself unhappy. And besides, when you're doing the maximum amount, how much space is left for coming up with interesting creative ideas rather than just hammering out the rote stuff that everyone else has ever done before? So just some food for thought.
Bars, yes. Man.
I mean, struggle and resistance and pressure is kind of like, a big part of life. Life Answered, human intellectual podcast.
Yeah, man. And thanks for bringing it back around to the journaling thing, because like that actually reminded me of how that journal entry last night ended. It was with, kind of talking about like, man, like bringing the metaphor of like, you're kind of, I just keep climbing, you keep climbing, and, there's going to be peaks and valleys when you're going up a mountain range. And, like the valleys look different from the peaks. So remember, like, it's all perspective. Like, oh yeah, I'm up here doing great. Back then was whatever. When you're in the valley, it feels like, you've got no perspective, and it feels like you're boxed in, and it feels like you're at a low point, but it's like, man, it's just another step on the journey. Like, I chose to walk on this path, and this path goes up and down. So don't get so consumed by that. Like, just keep putting one foot in front of the other and rest when you need to.
I like it. What's up, humans? It's Luke, your friendly neighborhood trap Jesus. Thanks so much for watching the podcast, checking out our videos. We truly appreciate you. So, Rip Kenny, Tesco, and myself got you a gift. We made you a free sample pack. It's got basses, it's got FX, it's got crazy percussion and Foley sounds, and it's free. It's all yours. Just click the link in the description below. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe, hit that like button, and share this with your friends. We appreciate you. Peace out and peace among worlds.